Hi there, weight loss surgery family. It's good to see all of you. I've enjoyed all of your videos this week, just like always. Every video I watch, there's something thought-provoking that comes from it, something I gain, I want to do, something I want to remember, and I just appreciate all of you taking the time so much. And I wanted to jump on and take the time to record this week. This is kind of a monumental week for me, and I'll get into that. I'm recording at a new spot on my back patio. An interesting fact is we live in an underground house, so it's just kind of a dugout back patio. And if y'all are interested, maybe I'll do a home tour sometime. Here in Oklahoma, we feel very fortunate to live in an underground house because it's Tornado Alley and we can kind of rest easy at night because we basically live in a cellar. But it's been a busy week. Thankfully, my 4- and 2-year-old are sleeping right now, so I could come back here and visit with y'all a little bit. My 2-year-old's birthday party, it was lots of fun, really enjoyed it. It was a big open room. We set up chairs and, of course, all the little concession stand on our baseball-themed party. And so my 2-year-old kind of got to walk around and feel that freedom, so he felt like every minute he was an MVP. We're glad we got to have that celebration, glad that lots of our friends and family got to meet Christian for the first time. As most of you know, my journey started, the catalyst to my journey was with when my 2-year-old was born. He was born with gastroschisis. He lived on TPN IV nutrition for the majority of his first year of life. And he's had over a dozen surgeries, but ultimately that TPN IV nutrition did damage to his liver, and he has a fibrotic liver. And a year ago, the doctor told me that although I am a match for his liver, because when you get to be a stage 4, you need a transplant, although I am a match, I was too fat to save my child. And so right at that moment, I knew I needed to make a change. I'd kind of been in denial before that. And so I decided, since my insurance wouldn't cover it, to fly to Mexico and have vertical sleeve gastrectomy weight loss surgery with Dr. Villarreal. And it was a really good experience, and I'm happy to share that experience with anybody because I know it can be, medical tourism could be a scary process. But let's talk about a little stats. So my high weight in 2009 and 10 was 365 pounds, a BMI of 51 because I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm now currently 34 years old. I started the pre-op diet the 1st of July of 2017, and I weighed 326 pounds, a BMI of 46. On the day of surgery, I weighed 319 pounds with a BMI of 45. And on January the 11th, 2018, I beat obesity, and it is in remission at weighing 215 pounds, which brings me to today. I currently weigh 182 pounds. And yesterday, if you saw my Instagram post, I weighed 181 pounds. But so how did the week go and how did we come to those numbers? Because if you watched my video last week, you know that that's a 8 or 9 pound drop. But I kind of fell into it. I did a 7-day extended fast based off of Dr. Fung's recommendations. And although I can't sit here and lie and say it's easy, I can say that it was such a good experience, and I feel so strong from doing it. I'm not a runner, but the way people describe, like when they finish a marathon, is the way I was feeling yesterday. I fasted Wednesday night to Wednesday night, so the way I was feeling last night is like I honestly dreaded for the fast to end. Like it had been 7 days, like I really didn't want to go longer than that because we're getting ready to do some family events. But I felt almost euphoric. So I just want to kind of describe kind of how it went so that if I'm lost and if I'm struggling any time in the future, 6 months from now, a year from now, any time in the future, I can remember I can come back to this. And if anybody watching this is struggling, then you can know that this is an option for you too. I'm not any stronger than anyone else. It's something that gets easier the more that you do it. So day 1 and day 2 were just generally pretty sucky. The head hunger is just crazy. You just want to chew. Thankfully, I picked to do this, and I just picked to do it a 3 or 4 day fast. But then we'll get to that anyways. So day 1 and day 2 were bad. I had so much head hunger. I wanted to eat. I wanted just to chew. I got through those days with coffee with a tablespoon of heavy cream. I did that twice. Did 64 ounces of water, and I think I had a Coke Zero that day. So I'm not the perfect fasting patient. I mean, we all need to have goals. That's something I can work towards, and we can talk more about why that's the case. So just pretty much just grit and bear it and get through the first 2 days. Day 3 was 50% easier. 50% of my head hunger and regular hunger, I would say, was gone. I was super busy. It just helped me push on through. And then by day 4, my hunger was completely gone, and I felt fine. And I was so energetic and so productive the entire rest of the fast. Day 4, 5, 6, 7 were just great. Like, honestly, I was staying up until 2 and 3 in the morning working on projects, paperwork, things that needed to get done, getting up at 6, getting my son off to school, getting our routine done, and not lagging throughout the day. Like I was the week before. I wasn't sleeping, but I was lagging throughout the day the week before. So I'm just really impressed with how much mental clarity you can gain from fasting. And when you're not meal prepping, you're not sitting to eat, you're not doing all these things, you're not waiting to drink, all of that, how much more productive you can be in life. And so it was perfect timing for that. So I'm just really proud of myself. I'm proud that I was able to accomplish that, and I'm proud that yesterday when I stopped, 181 pounds is half of my initial high weight, and I honestly never ever thought that I would see that number. I never really believed that any kind of weight loss surgery would help me. I still have fears. I still fear about maintenance and about where I'm going to go from here. I'm continuing to do research in that area. My newest book that I'm just starting is Brain Over Binge with the workbook. I've heard people that go to a therapist and go to group therapy also, and that's what they have to do. So I thought I can try to do that on my own. I really believe in therapy. I believe that if there's any possible way, you should take advantage of that. But our nearest therapist would be 2 hours away, and my child with medical issues has me really tied down. So I'm trying to manage the mental part of this on my own. But I do think it's important, and if you have that opportunity, definitely use a professional over just ordering books off Amazon. So the bad parts about fasting, some of the negatives is I didn't enjoy anything at any kind of food or beverage at my son's birthday party. No one even noticed because I was so busy serving other people and visiting with other people. So it wasn't socially awkward at all. But part of me wanted to have a cupcake. Part of me wanted to indulge in nachos and Frito chili pie, and we had cotton candy and popcorn. We just had a huge birthday. Not as big as I would have liked. I honestly set my hopes high, and I thought that about 250 people would come, but it was really about half that size. So I was slightly disappointed, but then I saw my son's laughter and happiness, and I thought, well, this is all for him, so it doesn't matter if even just one person came. It was really special. So that was one con for me. The other thing is I did have several nights where I had leg cramps. So I decided to mix up some of my own electrolyte water. And if you'd like the recipe for that, what I did was take 32 ounces of water, and I would mix half of a teaspoon of regular salt, half of a teaspoon of salt substitute, which is really just potassium, and then I would add Splenda if it needed to be more sweet. But honestly, I was craving so much salt that I didn't want any kind of sweetener in it. I did put a packet of Crystal Light, but in 32 ounces of water, that's really diluted, and so it's not very sweet. But that tasted really good. So I probably should have did that twice a day. I was only doing it once a day, but I think my potassium was getting low. Also, I did an Epsom salt bath one night after the birthday party when I could kind of sit back and relax, and that's a great way to get your magnesium in. I think my magnesium was getting a little low also. So adding a cup of Epsom salt to a bath water, great self-care, which you deserve during a fast, and get your magnesium in. So leg cramps are another con, but I'm more focused on the positives because there's so many more positives than negatives. And I want to say that your time, not only for work, but what about your time for self-care? I hadn't painted my toenails in 6 months. Did my fingernails in that amount of time. I honestly hadn't been able to watch very many YouTube videos. Hadn't started my new book. Hadn't whitened my teeth. All these things that I just had time for because of the meal prep. I did give my children some easier meals this week. They did have chicken nuggets. They had to eat leftover hot dogs from our birthday party one night. And then my mom had invited us to dinner a couple nights, and so they ate over there. So anyways, they weren't getting their normal meals that I cook just because I didn't want to be tempted, really. So if I had the option for a little bit easier options with my 6, 4, and 2-year-old, I did take it. So I recommend that also. So what's the next week look like for me? Well, surprisingly, we are going to be traveling a lot. My husband had an unexpected business trip come up to Michigan, and he's invited us to go with him. So we're leaving in the morning, bright and early, and we're going to try to take some, shorter drives to break it up for the kids. Like maybe we could make it from here to St. Louis, stop and let them see the arch, and then go on towards Michigan. And then we'll just be there for a day. And on our way home, we were thinking about trying to take a trip to Chicago. My 6-year-old had heard about Legoland in Chicago, Legoland Discovery Center. So we're hoping to surprise him with that trip, that event. And then we'll head on home, maybe find something else to stop at on our way back to Oklahoma. Any suggestions you have, we're up for it. Any places to eat, which I'm hesitant to say that because, for one, our children, aren't welcome at every restaurant. Every restaurant's not child friendly. And for 2, I'm nervous about what I'm going to eat. I'm worried about road trip snacks. Thankfully, I've had a couple of friends give me some pointers about everything I should pack for traveling snacks. We're not going to have a ton of extra room, but I'm planning on doing 1 tote with Tupperware dishes and 1 ice chest, so that will help. And I have kind of scoped out where a little grocery store might be to help also. So we're going to be gone to Michigan for the 4 days, and I'll be home for a couple days. We have a couple graduation parties when we get back. Then I'm going to head to Tulsa, where I'll fly out on the 31st, and then I'll end up coming into San Antonio for WLFSA on the 1st. I'll be there until the 3rd. I'm going to come home for those couple of days, and then my son has to go to Boston Children's Hospital for his liver test and some other, examinations and stuff. And we'll be there until the 10th or 11th, depending on the doctor's appointments and how it all goes. And I'll come home and try to recover for a couple days and obviously do laundry. And my middle son oddly enough, he has cyclical vomiting syndrome, and he has to see a doctor at Dallas Children's Hospital. And so we'll be going to Dallas for the 14th through the 17th. So I'm hopeful that this fast has put me in a good mindset of realizing what real hunger is, that it has taken away a lot of the cravings that I was starting to feel, and I'm hoping that it's set me on a good path of success so that I don't fall off the wagon during all of this traveling. One of my friends pointed out that I do really good with a regimen and I do really good with routine. She does really good with traveling, and she actually usually loses weight when traveling, but I'm the opposite, and I think it's because it is so out of routine and it's not my regimen. I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to make a real effort to be successful. I really wanted to reach less than a 25 BMI for my son's doctor's appointments at Boston Children's, because that's when you qualify to be a liver donor. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to lose I have to weigh 179 pounds to have a 24.98 BMI. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to lose 3 or 4 pounds to do that in the next week or 10 days, but I'm going to give it all I got. And my ultimate goal, my more realistic goal, was I would be there by my surgery on July the 6th of 2018. So that is my goals. That's where I've been at. I appreciate everyone being so kind and giving me such warm welcomes into our YouTube WLS community. And I look forward to downloading every one of your old videos I can and watching it on our 16-hour trip to Michigan, 16-hour trip home. That's going to be my little vacation. So I look forward to getting to know you all more and seeing you at WLFSA. Have a good week, friends.